Okay, want to know where to find brands on brands on brands this fall? At Ross. They've got big savings on the latest fall styles. Seriously, you'll find the brands you want at prices you'll love. At Ross. Yes, for less.
Welcome back to episode 8 of Wholeheartedly with
Kendall, who's sipping her coffee,
and Galey. And I just want to say this is going to be a rough start for my girl Kendall, because we're recording earlier than usual, and she's on the other coast right now at her parents' house in California. So so she's struggling a little bit this morning, but we're going to make it through because we have a lot of great stuff. I want to unpack how Alex and Kendall felt about putting it all out there on last week's pod. I also want to talk about a lot of the questions we didn't get to that everybody submitted to our Instagram, the Wholeheartedly pod, because there were so many great questions. And so I kind of want to dedicate this episode to answering them because y'all are on fire. So before we get started, Kendall, are you alive? How are we doing today?
Look at this. I have my cold brew from yesterday, and I just got an ice shaken espresso with half the pumps of brown sugar and an extra shot of espresso. I am going to be bouncing off the walls. I'm hanging. I am not a morning person, Galey. Like, I would love to be. I have tried to be. I thought moving to New York was going to make me that way because people are like, yeah, work out at 5 a.m. I'm a Californian at heart, okay? Our stores don't open till like 10 a.m. We like to ease into the beautiful day. I don't know. I don't know about you, but I don't know how you do it because I have a feeling you're chipper in the morning.
I couldn't identify less with you. My alarm goes off at 5:30, but it's kind of redundant because I wake up at 5:25. My body knows that the alarm's about to go off.
No.
So I wake up and then I turn the alarm off, knowing that, or so that it won't go off in 5 minutes. And I'm already up. So like nobody has to hear an alarm go off. And by 6 a.m., I am on the pavement running down Las Olas, and I am going for my morning run. And then by 7, I have gotten home, I fed the dogs, and then before 8, I will have blown off the entire yard, cleaned out the pool, cleaned out the fountain, wiped all of the dog smudges off of all of the windows to the backyard, and then I will also have taken them on a 30-minute walk. So by like 8:30, I feel like I'm ready for lunch.
Galey, my God, the thing that got me the most out of that entire routine, which so tracks with you, is because you're such a thoughtful person. You naturally wake up 5 minutes before your alarm, so nobody has to hear an alarm. Like the amount of like thoughtful consideration to when it interrupts your sleep. Bless you. God, I would love to be you. I've tried to be you. But meanwhile, I'm double fisting copious amounts of caffeine and saying a prayer because, like, let's go. As I stuff straws in my mouth.
You're double strawing right now.
Honestly, wait, hold on, guys. I think I might be onto something. It's going to cost you $40, but
oh no, this is going in the newsletter. How to mix coffees to make the perfect drink in the morning.
One straw on the white, right? I can't even talk. One straw on the white. What am I, like hunting Webbit? You're
tired, Kendall, is what you are. So we're slurring, we're spilling coffee, but it's great. You know, this is where we just can be ourselves. So, and what's also nice is we don't get immediate feedback. So we can kind of talk unapologetically and we're not seeing people's faces like, oh, that's awkward. I remember one time in Goldman, I was giving a presentation and I saw a guy and I was always so nervous. It's 10 times more terrifying presenting to your peers at your place of business than it is to a client. Like you can go and talk to a client all day long. Imagine it's you. Like imagine if you had to give a Peloton class to a bunch of Peloton instructors. That's 10 times more intimidating than if you were giving it to just Peloton riders coming in. So I was at our home office in New York and I was giving a presentation about, you know, a success story that I had that the peers could hear from. And I saw this older, well, they were all older mostly, but older guy in the back who I had so much respect for. And I just saw him like roll his eyes at another guy as soon as I started to talk. And when I tell you, I felt like the energy just got sucked out of my body. and the enthusiasm, the excitement I had to share this thing that I hoped would be helpful, that I was really proud of. I almost just wanted to like crawl into a hole and die. And where I'm going with this is that it's great on a podcast because we're not getting immediate feedback from like judgmental facial expressions. So we kind of feel like we're good and we can keep talking and we can just be ourselves and nobody's judging us, at least not at this exact moment. So our energy stays high. So thanks for giving me the good facial expressions.
I will smile and laugh and just clap and make silly faces. Reason being, because I've had similar experiences, like growing up as a kid actor, or like I say failed kid actor because what the hell was I ever on? Which is kind of funny that way. But I would go to these auditions and like you're performing for these adults and they're just staring at you, especially when you go to producers, which is like multiple rounds of callbacks before you go in for sometimes you screen test. And it's just all of these adult people just staring at you. One time I walked in and they were all eating lunch. I'm like, you can't just like not take a bite of your sandwich while I'm crying in front of you for this scene, you a-holes. I will say, I think I have a level of delusion now when people are looking at me or judging me. I just figure I don't know what the hell is going on in their head. So a lot of it doesn't faze me the same way anymore because I think I'm just used to people being like, wow, with the big eyes or like tilting their head like, she's interesting. She's a lot. And I feel like that's like safe space always at home. But I'm with you. I think it's nice to be able to have the two of us connecting on this.
So owning the Delulu is in fact the Salulu.
Amen. I mean, hello, I got 2 caffeine drinks. It's delusional to be consuming this. I'm going to regret it in probably an hour, but you know what? We're not going to be live for that. So we're going to be fine.
Yeah. I've never had coffee. I mean, in some ways we are so, Kendall, in some ways we are so similar, but in other ways we could not be more opposite. I have not even coffee ice cream. Like I don't do caffeine. I don't do coffee.
I knew you didn't do alcohol. Like I was like, okay, that's dope. I totally can see that. I didn't know you've never had coffee, Galey.
No, and like I love the smell of it. I love when like growing up, I remember in the kitchen smelling so great because my parents would always make it. We went on this road trip to the Grand Canyon, and I remember waking up just smelling the coffee machine being like brewing while we were driving. And I remember that smell so distinctly on that family vacation. And so it brings me back there, but I have no desire to drink it or try. I don't want a hot drink. I don't do tea. I don't like hot drinks, I think.
See, I only do iced coffee. Everything I drink is iced, even in the winter, to the point that when I was in New York, the best part is like it would be dead of winter. I'd be wearing my like Canada Goose parka, the long one, because I couldn't do even the one to the knees. I had to do the one to the ankles because I'm just not built for cold.
Wait, hold on, Kendall. The one to the knees for most people, I think, is yours to the ground.
Honestly, that's such an accurate thing. I think I don't know if it's Canada Goose or a macage or mackage or I don't know what the hell how you say it. But I remember I tried it on in the store. God, this was humbling. And you know, New York is filled with like supermodels. Everyone's freaking tall and their legs are long, especially at this bougie like parka store. And I think I was in like meatpacking or somewhere or Soho, you know, where it's like a lot of tall bougie people. So I try on this coat and it's supposed to hit like the top of your calf. Well, lo and behold, I had on the short Ugg boots and it was about at the top of the short Ugg boot. And one of the salespeople, straight out of like Devil Wears Prada, she like looks at me and she goes, "Oh, it's so cute." And like keeps walking. And I was like, "You bitch." But I was like, also, "You bitch, you're right. I do look cute and it is cold and I'm buying this damn sleeping bag, even though it's like $2,000. And it worked and I still have it, except the zipper broke. So Mackage, can you fix my parka, please? Not that I incline on using it this year, but hold on, tangent. Yes, coffee. Wow. That was 17 feelings all in one. I don't.
Hold on, girl. Are you okay? Are we okay?
Debatable.
Are you good?
You know, in general,
I mean, like right now in this moment, are you good?
I'm really happy to be here. I don't know if what I'm going to say out of my mouth is going to be cogent whatsoever, but you know what? We're just going to roll with it. In fact, this might be a case for never drinking caffeine because look at how clear-minded and present you are. Meanwhile, I'm sucking down 2 drinks, like hoping on a dream and praying that I'm going to be able to make it through this. So maybe caffeine is the problem, guys.
I don't know. I think people could say I have a problem too, because it's probably not normal to be doing all of those things like furiously and with so much fervor every morning, right? Like cleaning every single window, cleaning out the pool, blowing off every leaf in the backyard. Like there's something very not healthy there too. So I think we just have our own version of Delulu, but it's our Solulu. So
question though, when you're doing your fervorous fury in the morning of your list of things to do you do it silent or do you do it with like, is there like music or is there headphones? Like what do you listen to?
So one of three things is happening.
Okay.
So for example, this morning while I did it, I was listening to the previous episode we just recorded to send in my edit notes to Casey. So I was listening to it and then I would stop in the middle of a run and I'd write and I'd be like, hey, at second 8-minute 49, I'm too loud. Like I'm coming in hot, bring the volume down. And like I make notes to myself. And then when I'm done running, I send him the edit notes. But if I'm not doing that, then number 2, I'm listening to other podcasts. Or 3, what I did yesterday is because I got your newsletter that I'm obsessed with. I got your newsletter and then you had linked a new Spotify playlist on there that was like your punk rock, whatever. Yes, I jammed out to that. So total plug here, guys. Again, if you're not in the NKO, Her Never Knocked Out newsletter club, it's a country club for the misfits. And it is exactly where I want to be. And it's such a great newsletter. And she links playlists, recipes, all of the things. You will not regret it. Sign up at kendalltool.co. But yes, so I followed your Spotify playlist from the newsletter and I listened to that on my run and it was a blast from the past. So that's what I'm doing.
Okay, well, that's good. I love it. I love that you're saying pop punk too, because I do think particularly like when you have a long list of things to do and in the morning, sometimes pop punk and the nostalgia just gets you right. Like I don't want to listen to new crap. To be honest, I feel like a lot of music now is so TikTok coded, like it's made to go viral for like 20 seconds that then you hear the rest of the song and I'm like, where is it? Where's the beef? Where's the meat?
Yes.
Like, what the hell?
Yes.
And you don't even eat meat. And you're like, where's the meat? You know what I mean? Like, it's where's the beef?
And then I'm like, where are the veggies? Like, there's not even veggies here. And it's so true. It's TikTok coded. It'll be like 30 seconds of like a really good chorus. And then I go and download the song. And then I'm like, hold up. I just had to listen to 40 seconds to get to the good 30 seconds. And then the rest of it is bad again. That is so true.
Yeah, I need the music industry to wake up and let artists be artists again. And like, I want a full damn album. I want to be moved from the beginning song to the end song. And I want to listen to it over and over and over again. The 2 artists that I think are really, well, there's 3, and they are very popular right now, and they are popular on TikTok. Chappell Roan has blown completely the F up, and I think she's ultra talented. I actually saw her years ago. One of my girlfriends from USC who was in like the pop producing program wrote songs for her when they both like everybody was like very underground. Nobody had a following, just trying to break through. Isn't that cool?
Kendall, I don't even know who you're talking about.
Chappell Roan. You know, Pink Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing. Okay, I'm sending it to you. I'm gonna make you a playlist.
I have no idea who that is. Wait, so who are the other 2 people you're thinking?
Other 2 are Charlie XCX, who we've listened to for years. Like she's had a million hits, and then it just makes me laugh that Gen Z's like, oh my God, she's the newest thing. And I'm like, baby, like I love it. I don't care. I'm like, we literally no. She's millennial. Sorry, we claim her.
She just got a Skims campaign. I will say Kim K is on top of kind of figuring out who needs to be in her next campaign. And she is totally with it in that sense. I don't know if it's her team or her figuring that out, but she picked the right people. Wait, okay. And then the third person.
Third person is obviously it's Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah.
Which a bunch of people saw her on Disney Channel, which I never watched her on Disney Channel because I was too old for that. But that I absolutely love her. I think her music is great. She opened for Taylor, which I really loved that. The new music video Taste that she did with Jenna Ortega, who she is my lovely little Tim Burton, creepy girl, badass energy. She's a sweetheart too. And she grew up in Palm Springs. So I've heard a bunch of lovely stories about how nice she was as a kid. A lot of the kids out here are very, very sweet where my parents live. And so, yeah, I'm a big stan of those 3. But it's funny though, other than that, like a lot of these artists now, and I feel for them, like their labels are telling them, do something so it goes viral. And I'm like, you're taking away the artistry of like what a musician's supposed to be doing. Like, I want them to pour their heart into their music. I want it to sound weird and try a different sound. Like Rick Rubin, it was probably like screaming, like, let artists be artists. Don't make them do this stuff. It kind of sucks. So I hope you have
I feel like that's translated across so many industries though, right? Yeah. Look at comedians.
Yeah.
Everybody is so scared of cancel culture, and they're so scared of saying the wrong thing and it be captured and taken out of context and then played for millions on TikTok. And now you have this cancel culture. I mean, we're watching it happen to Blake Lively right now. Like, so many people are getting canceled, and I'm proud that we live in a place where freedom of speech is still our freedom. However, it's almost like it's taken on too much power, because now it's actually hurting other people's freedom of expression.
Yeah. Court of public opinion. And there's no real fair trial anymore, right? Like, everybody thinks if they can take a soundbite of something, and if it sounds as vilifying as what it is, it's Bible, it's truth. Like, this person, let's codify them into this like terrible label. Now, don't get me wrong. I do believe people need to get called out for being idiots. Like, by all means, if it's very clear what happened, sure. But I think everybody kind of wants to point fingers, particularly at celebrities or musicians or people who have a platform. And it's getting kind of witch hunty. Like, I'm curious, what are your thoughts? I haven't seen It Ends With Us, and I didn't read the book, so I feel like I can't say much. But I've always really liked Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. But I do think her PR team probably, I think that the marketing was a little tone deaf, but I don't dislike her. And I've heard wonderful things about Justin Baldoni through like friends who've worked with him multiple times. So I don't know. I think two things can be true at the same time, but I'm wondering what your thoughts are on it.
Oh, that is such a loaded question, because I don't want to get canceled for this. But
no, I know. I don't see, but how screwed up is that? Like having conversations like this, you get like nervous if someone's going to like take a clip and say something.
Yeah, but if we're going to build a platform and have this space to talk freely, then I think it's important that we do justice to that, and we share our opinions and we talk freely, because otherwise people are going to be listening to us for just a bunch of muted, muddled conversation of people trying to walk a tightrope carefully, so
palatable platitudes.
So here's what I'll say. I think that, to your point, two things can be true at the same time. So you might look at the PR that Justin Baldoni was doing for the movie, where he was really focused on domestic abuse and violence, and making that kind of the theme. And then you can look at Blake Lively, who was, grab your florals and get your girlfriends and grab your popcorn. And she was kind of making it like a rom-com. And I think there's two ways that you can look at it. On one hand, you can say, Justin did it the right way, because this is about domestic violence and people need to be made aware of that. We need to spread the word. Mm-hmm. But then you can also look at Blake's side and be like, if I promote this as a movie about domestic violence, there's a lot of people who might say that's not for me, or that sounds dark, or I'm not interested. And then they don't go. And if they don't go, then they don't get to feel what happens in the movie and be educated and made aware of it. So maybe doing a little bit of cloak and dagger Trojan horsing people and getting them into watch it, especially the women, right? It was like, grab your girls and get in here and watch this. Maybe she was doing like a low-key Trojan horse and trying to get us to go see it in droves so that it could spread more awareness. Yeah. Like, you don't really know what's in people's heads and what their motives are, but the media will twist it in a way that makes it almost impossible for you not to agree with them, because they make such a strong case. So if I were her PR rep, I'd totally be hoping that's, what she was doing and the intention there, but I'd totally be pushing it in that direction. And instead they're just mute. Like they're silent.
I think the biggest misstep in this whole thing that was made was, look, people, and I've learned this, I know you've learned this, people found out who Alex was because they stalked my following the moment that like I announced that I was in a relationship or kind of alluded to it. And that what are you going to do? Like, Instagram needs to change the fact that when I follow people, it's freaking chronological. Like, at this point, guys, just scramble them. Like, it shouldn't be that easy, but it's a very easy way to figure out who's connecting with who and who met who when. It's creepy. It's like stalkery. Anyway, but it's part of our world. I think the biggest misstep was that there was this understanding that everybody that was in the cast, except for I think like Hassan Minaj or him and another actor, all unfollowed Justin Baldoni on social media. And it just reminded me so much of like, you know, we grew up with Mean Girls. We grew up with all of these other challenges and bullying. It gave that kind of energy, that whether that be intentional, whether that be unintentional, whether it be, you know, they were trying to make a point about even the theme of the movie and it went south. It just gave like fire and fodder to the idea that he's a villain and there's two camps and it's us versus them. And it tore that apart. I truly wish they would kind of have a moment where maybe they're like, hey, even if this isn't true, like be like, hey guys, gotcha. We got a lot of attention on the film. We wanted to talk about this. Let's do a panel all together. I want the whole cast to come together and just put this crap to bed. And I think, unfortunately, it feels like both narratives have gone so far apart that now the connective tissue, which is the theme of the movie and getting people into seats, has just gotten lost in the sauce. And I don't know. And I hate seeing women, you know, whether it be warranted or not, I don't love seeing women pile on other women and be so hateful. Like, look, there's some interviews that came up of Blake that don't make her look too positive. They were years ago. We don't know the full scope and details. There's a lot of layers that can be true. I'm not sitting here defending that. I think some of that was a little tone deaf on her part. But at the same time, like watching so many people crucify her and take joy in watching her like kind of fall from grace because her and her husband are both very successful, it just rubs me the wrong way. It's ucky. It's kind of another form of like abuse where I'm like, okay, we're all, you know, going after her. And it's just, I don't know. I'm sick and tired of people throwing stones at people just for the joy of watching them fall. It's really uncomfortable.
I completely agree with you on some of her previous interviews and her interactions that came out. It definitely gave me pause for concern on how I feel about her. But I also have to realize we all have bad days. We all have bad moments. You don't know the history and what was said prior to the clips that you see. I heard that at the end of it, like the rest of the interview, she was actually really nice, but nobody's showing that part, just like the part where she was set off a little bit. And so I'm not defending her in any way. I just want to keep it very realistic and know that we don't really know everything. So it's hard to judge anything. But I will say what upsets me when I really think about it, this concept of women piling on women, you never see a guy fall from grace or maybe start to get canceled or rumors come out. And then it's all men in the comments tearing him down.
That's so true.
And then if it happens to a woman, it also is not all men in the comments tearing her down. It's the women.
Yep.
And so if we could just be like stronger together and come together collectively, like people, you know, people say so many things about different genders and how they interact. But at the end of the day, when it comes to like hate speech and bringing people down, and like Mean Girls is called Mean Girls, not Mean People, for a reason.
So true. It's such a great point as well. And I think it's something that we kind of are taught in these social structures that we come up in. Like, and I've noticed it. My nephew, I won't even say his name for privacy because my brother's really private. He's very private. I'll send you photos. Oh my God. He started playing soccer. He got a striker because he tumbled over everybody else and he got a goal, but in the wrong goal. He went the wrong way. And then he tried to argue with the ref, like, no, there's the goal. The ref is like, no, other way, sweetheart. It was the cutest thing. Oh my God. I love him. He's my little weeble. But anyway, I talked to my brother about this a lot. And he says this, he's like, as a single dad for him, he's like, you know, sometimes I'm really relieved that I don't have a daughter at this point and not have, you know, a wife and to be able to help navigate this stuff. Because he said, you know, I talked to some of Brewer's schoolmates. Okay, I said his name. His name's Brewer. It's very cute. I can't. It's the cutest name, isn't it? Great. His name's Brewer. I think
that is such a cute name. I've never heard that.
No, they did a great job picking out the names. And he and his ex, they're wonderful co-parents. It's really beautiful to see their relationship. And you know, I've been really inspired by how he is as a father. I'm so proud of my brother. But it's really interesting. I've talked to my brother about this, and he talks to the other parents at the school that he's at, that Brewer's at, and they talk about the dynamic with the young girls like already at 4 or 5 years old, the girls are getting into like cliques and kind of, deciding, oh, you look cute. You can hang out with us today. I don't like your sweater. I like your sweater. And using these kind of group tactics. And I'm like, these are learned behaviors. These are things that little girls are seeing exemplified either in media, either in structures societally around them, and thinking that that's the normal way for women to communicate with each other. And it makes me really concerned because like one day when I have kids, I would love to have girls, or at least a girl, to be able to try to combat this because it's so challenging. All of the noise you get as a teenage girl and all of the pressure that you feel to either connect and be a part of a group or to stay in that group, you have to vilify another young girl. And it's so nasty. And it's true. We see it in the comments everywhere. Most of my hate comments come from other women, most of the time, like the hater stuff. And I'm like, damn, it's wild. It's so upsetting to me because I'm like, oh, we're supposed to support each other. We know the hell we go through.
It is wild. And I think that it's hard too because we're all combating something biological and instinctual that is inside of us, which is, the desire to fit in and be a part of a group. Because if you're a part of a group, you are more protected than if you're alone, right? Like it goes back to basic biological survival of the fittest instincts. So if we keep going back historically, is this a history podcast? I feel like it is. But I think that we're historians. I think that if you really think about that desire to be a part of a group and then you put it in present day form, it's not our fault for wanting to fit in and be a part of it. And when you're, in your most formative years in middle school and high school, and your brain is still, your frontal lobe is very underdeveloped still, and you're trying to find your way, it's natural and instinctual to want to fit in and be a part of a group. And then the problem is when you're not a part of a group or the group rejects you, it really impacts you. I mean, you can have a long-term emotional, psychological damage from this. And what worries me, I mean, I know for a fact, I don't think I would survive if I was in middle school today. There's too much comparison and ease of comparison with social media and commenting and keyboard warrior bullies at school. So it's not even to your face that they can hurt you. They just do it publicly, but under a guise that nobody knows. I mean, it's so vicious. And I was talking to one of my girlfriends from high school back in Gainesville, and we were texting, and she was saying, it's still a thing. Like I'm a mom now, and our kids are going to school together, and the cliques that we were dealing with in high school are now happening in the mom groups.
No.
And the gossiping is still there. The cliques are still there. And it's just a really vicious competitive cycle. And so then that makes me think, okay, if it's even worse today for middle schoolers than it was when we were in middle school, what is it going to be like when those middle schoolers are moms? Like it's only getting worse. I don't know. It just scares me. It makes me sad.
You guys, we have to talk about my favorite car ever, my dream car. I thought multiple times yesterday in Beverly Hills, which it's a great car if when you're sitting on Canaan, you see that car go by all the time. It is the Defender 110, and it is always up for adventure, but like sexy adventure, okay? It's very refined. It's been redefined with this modern design taste that not only makes it perfect for, scrolling through Beverly Hills, but also for off-roading, for going anywhere you need to be and not being held back by terrain. The exterior is reimagined, and it's got these compelling proportions and these really precise details. And the interior has that robust material, but it also has integrity. The Defender 110 lets you go further and do more, and it's built for the modern explorer. Cargo capacity means that you have more room for your gear or your shopping, and to drive the Defender is to explore with greater confidence. Ready for a wide range of adventures, the Defender family has quite a few options for you guys. The Defender family features the 2-door Defender 90, the Defender 110, and then the Defender 130, which if you have a bajillion children or just a lot of surfboards and stuff, it seats up to 8, so everyone can pack in. The Defender 110 is a vehicle that is made to go further, and it looks so good while it does it. Learn more at LandRoverUSA.com/Defender, and odds are I'm already on that site building my own.
Cut the commute and up the convenience for your next dermatologist visit. Non-segmental vitiligo patients 12 and older can virtually discuss repigmentation with Opzelura ruxolitinib cream as soon as today. Get started on your pursuit for repigmentation with topical Opzelura. Visit Opzelura.com to connect with a derm to see if Opzelura is right for you. Provider availability may vary. For patients taking therapeutic biologics, other JAK inhibitors, or strong immunosuppressants such as cyclosporin, Opzelura is not recommended.
Opzelura can lower your ability to fight infections. Tell your doctor if you have or had an infection, TB, hepatitis B or C, blood clots in your legs or lungs, heart attack, stroke, cancer, high cholesterol, are a smoker, or pregnant. Opzelura may cause serious lung infections, certain cancers, immune system problems, blood clots, and low blood cell counts. Major cardiovascular events or death occurred in those 50 plus taking oral JAK inhibitors. The most common side effects were acne and itching where applied.
Call 866-564-8484 to learn more about prescription Opzelura for non-segmental vitiligo.
Let's see. I could go casual chic or dress for success.
With so many looks, picking out what to wear can be difficult. But with Walmart, picking out a fresh pair of glasses is easy.
Maybe it's an athleisure day.
That's because Walmart has top brands and styles for you to choose from. So it's easy to find the right frames for whatever you're feeling.
Here's my outfit of the day and the perfect pair of cat-eye frames to match.
New glasses to make your styles pop. Welcome to your Walmart. Valid prescription required.
I don't know how it happens. I don't know if we kind of wake up and take less focus and put social media, which is kind of at the epicenter of the way we communicate, and it demotes because it's gotten to a point of being so toxic, and we all wake up to that. But it does concern me, the same thing you're saying, with how do these systems change? How do we evolve as women if we're continually playing into the same kind of roles and negative behavior that's been reinforced, and then it's also supported? Because for these young girls, they get bullied at school, or for kids in general, they get bullied at school. They don't have a safe space. They can't go home and the bullies stop. If anything, they go home or they have a phone and they're getting harassed 24/7, which, for me and my passion about mental health, and this is a very heavy topic, but the suicide rate is so high and it's getting much higher for between 12 and 17. I think in large part because these kids aren't able to have peace and quiet or to build their self-confidence outside of the social media platforms, and they're getting just berated. So it's very, very hard to feel valued when all of your peers are telling you should be devalued because you don't wear this sweater or you didn't shop at Brandy Melville, which is a whole other rabbit hole. I watched a documentary. It's called Brandy Hellville. Oh my God. It was like our experience at Abercrombie and Fitch, but 10 million times worse. And it's happening today. Guys, do not let your kids shop at Brandy Melville. I know it's hard. I know they line up outside that door. It is they have one size, Galey.
Wait, Kendall, did you work at Abercrombie?
Oh yeah, did you?
Yes.
I swear there is a collective pain from everybody that I know was traumatized by working at damn Abercrombie and Fitch. And now I will say I like them now. Some of their products actually fit me now, and they now carry the color black, which is weird that they never did because they were so damn preppy. But I had such body issues.
Okay, when I first got hired, I haven't met anybody else that worked there.
Really?
In my adult years. So I haven't really had an opportunity to talk about any of this with anybody. So day one, when I went in for my interview, they walked me into the back. They gave me a little string bikini.
No.
And they had me put on this little, and I was very insecure about my flat chest, and it had no padding. So I was really extra scared to put this on. And they made me put on this little string bikini with these little triangles, which I was always doing the fully padded, pushed up, tightened in the back to make it look like I have cleavage. And I had to take a Polaroid picture. And they pulled out the camera and they were like, just stand. And I'm just in the back in somebody's office. And I'm just standing there.
And you're a minor, I'll bet.
In my string bikini. They take a picture of me. And then they are, drying it off because it's a Polaroid. And they're doing the fanning thing. And they're like, we're going to send this back to corporate. And if they think that you could model for us, then we'll let you know. And if not, you'll just keep working here. And I never got the call.
Oh.
But I remember being wait, so they're taking pictures of every new employee and sending it to corporate to see if like, which I guess in theory, if I had gotten the call, that would have been great, more money and helped me out. So it wasn't the worst thing. But I just remember there was no like, do you feel comfortable doing this? Or this is before they take the picture, they didn't tell me what it was for. You're just kind of like this young little innocent thing, and the boss is telling you what to do, and you just kind of do it, and you put on the bikini.
Do it because you're young and and they have that. Okay, they're doing the exact same thing again now in today's world, 2028 to 2022, and still even 2024. They're doing that same crap at Brandy Melville, and they take Polaroids of the girls and their style. They copy whatever the clothing they are that they're wearing. Everything is fast fashion. They say it's made in Italy because it is, but it's at a fast fashion factory where people are paid below living wage and on slave labor in the center of Italy. And they know this, and they've been raided multiple times. And then these poor girls are being flown around the world to go and make design decisions in China. They're not being paid for that. And then there's photos of them. They take photos all the time. It's saved on the CEO's phone. Minor girls, children. Let's be very clear with this. If you're under the age of 18, you are a child. They are between the ages of 14, because a lot of the girls that work at Brandy Melville were just like us at Abercrombie. It was my first job. I worked at Hollister when I turned 15 and a half, 15 in California. And then I moved over to Abercrombie when I was 17. And I will say, believe it or not, Abercrombie and Fitch was a better experience for me than Hollister was. But in Hollister, I had a manager, I will never forget this. Oh my God, it's so ingrained in my brain because it was the first time I looked at my body and I thought there was something really wrong with it. Other than being insecure about like my chest and not really being developed and all those things in that way, which was totally fine. I have a beautiful body, but it was a huge problem. But I remember you had to spend your money on their clothing, which was so stupid. And it was illegal, by the way. There was a class action lawsuit that everybody got money back from. Yeah, I got like $50 because they cannot tell you to buy their clothes, even at a discount, to work at their store, which is what they were doing. So lovely, totally legal. Yeah, not cute? It's so cute. Anyway, so I was wearing their shorts and one of like the button-down flannels that everybody wore that were super cute at the time, and flip-flops, because that's what you wore when you worked at Hollister. And I remember our boss, she was probably maybe 20, maybe 19, maybe 20. And she would be like, well, if you're over a size 2, we might have to put you in stock. So there was 2 teams, and there was the model team. And that's if you were on the floor and in the front of the store greeting people, folding all those damn piles of clothes. It was a pain in the ass with the mini boards. Or there was impact, because they used to call it stock and they changed it to impact. And anybody that they felt didn't fit the aesthetic to be a model, they would put in the back room and pretty much hide them and say no. And so, of course, what they would do is, unfortunately, it was a lot of like the more diverse members of the team, they would put them in impact. Oh, yeah. There were multiple conversations. I remember.
No.
Oh, it's so messed up. It is so messed up. So not only that, my manager, I had one great one who I'm still friends with today on Instagram. She's very sweet. Bless her heart. Not her. She was the GM. And I had to admit this to her because it made me feel so uncomfortable. But the manager beneath her, I remember I was trying on our new clothes for spring or whatever, the new shorts. And she's like, let's go up to the mirrors in the front. So the mirrors in the front, right by the front door, we were just about to open the store. And she is wearing the same outfit I am. And she puts her leg out in front of mine, in front of the mirror. And she goes, see how thin, like, see how lean my thigh is, like how long it looks. And I was like, yeah, like, and she was very, very lean. She had very long legs, really pretty girl. And she goes, now let's look at yours. And she grabs, I am not kidding you. I've always had very muscular thighs. I was a gymnast growing up, all that stuff. She grabs it wasn't even fat. It was just muscle, which I know this now. But she grabs about an inch of muscle from my thigh and she goes, see, if you had less of that, your legs would look like mine. Galey,
no.
I know.
No.
Yep.
No.
Yep. An adult woman grabbed my thigh and told me essentially it was an inch too much and that I needed to lose it. So you know what I did? Which is so, oh God, I want to hug this girl. It makes me so sad thinking about it. Every time I'd be in the car with my mom, I would like sit in the front seat and I'd go up on my toes so that you know how when you're not totally flat on a seat, your thighs look leaner? I would do that for every single photo. I would watch every single YouTube video on how to get long, lean thighs from like all the Victoria's Secret trainers and all of this. I was obsessed with making my thighs smaller. Like, so obsessed with it, to the point I am a 31-year-old grown-ass woman now, right? Like, I've been through a lot. There are days when I put on shorts where that stupid, pardon my French, but that stupid bitch's voice is still in my head saying, oh, it would be better if your thigh was a little leaner. And one way that I am healing that, and I'm deeply grateful for that, is the strength that I have, that I'm proud that I could pedal my Peloton classes the way that I could, right? The fact that I know how strong my muscles are. I love doing leg day. And then also, we got to thank Alex for this, because one day I think I said something like, oh yeah, but I feel like my thighs look kind of big in this. And he goes, absolutely stop. If your thighs get any leaner, I will be upset. It's one of my favorite things about you. They are so strong and so beautiful. And so I was like, oh, you like that? Like, really? And it was such a healing full circle moment to hear from, obviously, somebody that I love, particularly the man in my life, that he enjoys that about my body. Where 17, 15, 16-year-old Kendall for years thought she didn't have value because her thighs, she would be just a little bit better if her thighs were just an inch thinner, like the other girl that was my manager at that store. Isn't that nuts? So wild.
This is why we have to be so careful about what we say, especially to younger, impressionistic people, because that will stick with them and it can loop forever. And because you and I both have OCD, history, when you put something in our brain, it loops and it loops. And it's part of the obsessive compulsiveness of it, is that we spin and we loop on things. I had the opposite impact in high school. I remember I was always so skinny as a little kid, and I developed so much later. So I didn't start to get, like hips and boobs and things like that till I was like 19, 20. And I was also just an extreme athlete. So I think I also like prevented my own like period and things from coming, because I was just so aggressive with all of the activities I was doing. But I remember it was like 7th grade. I was walking down the hall, leaving for the day to go out to like find my mom's car. And one of the really cute boys, 2 years older, who I had such a crush on, he like saw me walking down the hall and he was like, are you anorexic or something? I can barely even see your legs.
No.
And I was like, haha, no. And I kind of was like, I need to run and hide and bury myself right now because I don't want him to see me crying. And I remember I got into my mom's car and I did the exact opposite of what you did. And when I sat down in that seat, I remember looking down at my thighs, because he said, I guess the light coming through the door when I was walking through the hallway, like my legs kind of disappeared because they were so skinny. I had these little sticks. And I got in the car and I remember pushing my legs down as hard as I could on the seat to try and make them like spread out a little bit and look like thicker. And then from that point on, every time I was driving to volleyball or a soccer tournament and I was on a bus or in the back of a Suburban next to my girlfriends on the team, I would always look at all of their thighs and figure out like how hard I need to push down so that mine look like the same size.
Oh my God. That is wild that you had.
Isn't it crazy? Like you just have one comment can send you to the point. And now like I'm definitely putting my feet up on my toes and not trying to squish them down. So like when I'm sitting next to Dale and he's driving, I do notice that like my legs look better if they're up on tippy toes and they're not squished down. So like we're forever going to be focused on that because of, one comment that one person unthoughtfully said.
Yeah.
And they'll probably not even remember that they said it or did it. And yet we live with it forever. So again, it's why you have to be so sensitive to the people around you and how you're interacting with them and conscious of what you're saying.
There's that whole thing. It's like you speak truth over people every day. And I think that's just the great thing about I learned from my time at Peloton and having to meet people so quickly after classes and also be live on a camera all the time. It made me very self-aware of the fact that like everything that I do, if it's the one time I'm going to meet somebody, it's really important I'm really present with them. It's really important I really see them as much as I can, even if I'm tired, even if all that crap. Because especially when you have influence on somebody's life or they feel connected to you in some way, it is your responsibility to just like speak goodness over them. Like make them feel good and make them feel seen and better, or just, that you're eye to eye with them. Because I think when you go, we've all gone through this. I'm sure everybody listening to this, I would love it actually. Like, send us DMs of your personal stories similar to this on the Wholeheartedly Pod Instagram. I am just so curious because I just feel it in my gut, knowing that you had the same exact, I guess you could call it insecurity, but in the opposite direction. You wanted bigger thighs. I wanted thinner thighs. And we were both being judged for our damn legs, which are innocuous. They're based off of how long your bones are and what your genetics are, particularly at that age too. So it just goes to show the importance of when we speak about ourselves, especially like I notice this if I'm around my nephew or around younger girls. I'm like, it's really important for me to be buttoned up with how I talk about myself. And even if I'm not feeling my best that day, let me not like publicly shame myself in front of these minds, because they're going to latch on to that as, oh, an adult said this, that must mean it's okay. And it's like, no. I got to do a really good job and be self-aware of the fact, like, I'm exemplifying what I hope they look up to and would want to be. So I got to step up into that.
So we just went on a really, this was our opener, guys. That wasn't even supposed to be an opener. We were going to open with Alex and Kendall and how they felt immediately after sharing their relationship. So we're going to like reverse really quick in like 60 seconds or less. And then we'll get into the Wholeheartedly Q&A. But how did like, as soon as we closed out the recording session and you guys looked at each other and it was like, whew, okay, we got it out there, and like, you don't know how the world's going to react yet because it hasn't come out yet. Yeah. What was the immediate reaction that you guys had to like knowing you just kind of shared it all?
I think what was that? He looked at me and he's like, did I do good? I was like, you did great, babe. You were so great. You were totally yourself. And it was great. I think we talked about it. And what's nice about it and why I really wanted him to be on the podcast was like, I want people to hear him. Like, you and I have more public platforms. There's a lot of people that hear us, see our work, see those things. He doesn't have that kind of a reach. So even though he's super adept and builds businesses and is really brilliant, he doesn't have a public facing platform, which is also something I was so protective about with our relationship, because he can't always speak for himself with the microphone that's quite as big. So I was like, you know what? I know who he is. I love him. He's fantastic. Let's literally pass the mic so you can make your own judgment, because I know you're going to make the same judgment I did. Damn, he's a really intelligent, really nice, really thoughtful guy. Like really, really thoughtful. Down to like the first gift he ever got me before we ever met in person, he found this candle that I wanted for forever. It sold out at all these stores, and he sent it to me for my birthday. And he wrote this nice little handwritten note, and it was the most thoughtful thing that I said in passing. And that's just who he is as a person. He's very thoughtful. He's always doing something lovely that way. So yeah, his reaction was really positive. I think he was a little bit nervous too. He's like, did I sound okay? All the things we all ask when we're public talking for the first time. But I think he did really great. And I think it was a nice relief too. We talked to his dad later that weekend, and his dad was like, oh, I'm so happy for you guys. It's just going to be so nice. It's like, it's out. You don't have to worry about it. Like, you're not, look, I will say I've restricted his name from my comments for like 8 months since we started dating, because I was getting people who thought they were like really smart and really sassy and going to out his name and out his Instagram handle and all of that. And so I was like, nope, screw you. I'm just going to put it as so you couldn't say Alex. Sorry if your name is Alex and you've been trying to comment on my post, because unfortunately you have not been able to, because I had to set a boundary. But yeah, so that'll be good that that's out. And then I did another podcast this past weekend, and Alex was in the room. It was actually with Heather Dubrow, which was really fun. So that episode has already aired by the time this airs. And she loved him. And so we were talking about him a little bit, and like we plugged his brand that he has, Alexander Yawn, that he just launched, which is really cool. And she was so sweet and so excited. And she's like, oh my God, I walked in. There was this tall, attractive, handsome young man. And she's like, who's this? It's Heather Dubrow. She's fancy pants. I freaking love her. She's so great. But yeah, so it's good. He feels solid. I'm really stoked. And I just want to make sure, I still feel kind of protective, but it's just time for it to be what it is.
Well, I'm really proud of you guys. And I love that you kind of took power over the situation and the releasing of information. And that's so Kendall coded. So I love it. You took control of the situation. Okay. So, and thank you again, Alex, for being on. You were so well spoken, so thoughtful. And Kendall, I loved watching you every time he was talking because you could tell you were just so happy,
getting red,
but also like a little bit blushing and just really in your feminine energy, and so excited to be like, I don't know, sharing him, and you were proud of him, and I love that. You know how they say people kind of change to be like their partner when they get into a new relationship? In the case of Dale and myself, that was a great thing because I noticed he was hyper focused on his health. And the one thing that I saw him do every single morning was add his AG1, his athletic greens, to his protein drink. And so I've been doing athletic greens for almost a year now. And I can tell you the numbers speak for themselves. In a research study, 97% of participants felt digestion improved after 90 days of drinking AG1. Also, AG1 has all non-GMO ingredients and contains no added sugar. If you know me, I am a candy-holic and I eat a lot of sugar. So anything I can do to promote my gut health that doesn't involve sugar, but I actually like the taste of it, is a win for me. So start with AG1 and notice the difference for yourself. It's a great first step to investing in your health. And that's why I'm so excited to be partnering with them. Try AG1 and get a free bottle of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/whole. That's a $48 value for free if you go to drinkag1.com/whole. Check it out. Okay, so on the theme of relationships, we had such crazy outpouring of responses to our Wholeheartedly Instagram question last week about, what relationship advice are you looking for? And we thought that we would spill it over into this one because there were just too many to not answer more. So the first one, how do you get your significant other to get on your clean/CDO, if you know, level? For those of you who didn't hear in an earlier episode, CDO is my way of saying OCD because it's in alphabetical order the way it should be. So thanks for being an OG listener and you got the Wholeheartedly lingo down. How do you get, I think I'm the more clean freak between the two of us. So I'll answer this one.
Yeah, you can do it.
So
by no means am I in a pigsty, guys. I just definitely am not. I'm more type B when it comes to that.
Well, I'm like type AAA++. So I mean, okay, so yesterday I was bleaching behind the back of the faucet. I just thought, what if mold has grown there? I couldn't even see it. Nobody will ever see it. But I was just like, just in case, I'm going to spray a little bleach there and then wipe it. So that's the level we're at. So God bless every partner I've ever had, because I definitely have gotten better over the years because I try to put myself in their shoes and realize that this would be really hard and annoying to live with. But I also realize there's some things that just for my own sanity and peace of mind, I need to set boundaries early on. So for example, if you are using the sink and you splash water all around the countertop, clean it off. And okay, so my big thing is I have an undermount. Dale, I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry for me. But I have this undermount microwave, and it's got a stainless steel bar on top. And because it's undermount, the only way to open it is you have to physically push the stainless steel bar on the top.
I have the same one.
So every single time you open it, your fingerprints are going to be on there. So I have trained Dale to every time he's going to use, and I kind of did it subconsciously. So he always is making his his meals that he orders, for the week, and he'll use them in the microwave every day. So that means there's at least two touches on this microwave, morning and afternoon, that he's going to use it. And so he would do it, and then he'd see me come through with the cleaner, and just do a little wipe every time. And I was like, if he sees me doing this enough, subconsciously, he will get the message that he either needs to clean it or figure out a better way to do this. And so the next day after one of the wipes that I did, I watched him go to put his little pre-made egg meal, chicken period, callback to last episode.
Ew, I'm still mad at you for it. I had eggs yesterday and almost gagged.
Put his egg period / eggs, I'm sorry, chicken period / eggs in the microwave. And instead of hitting it with his fingers, he took the bottom of his t-shirt and then he put his thumb under it and then hit it to open, because now there's no trace of fingerprints because he did it through his shirt. And so now I was like, oh, he's a smart one.
It was very subtle. It was very, very subtle. You kind of alerted him in that way. I will say, though, quick question. If ever, I'm not saying I'm ever going to do this, but if ever somebody needs to not be on this earth anymore, I'm consulting you, because you would know how to do a crime and get away with it, because there would be no fingerprints freaking anywhere. You are like the stealth. Maybe we don't keep this in the podcast, but I'm just saying, like, the way that you'd be like, wait, did you check the fingerprints here? Did you check this here? I'm like, oh, good idea, Galey.
When we are done with our installs, I have my team go around and deep clean every single bathroom, every light switch in the house, to the point that I have them taking Q-tips and going around the edges of each of the light switches just in case any dust or gunk or anything is left in there. We go through and we Ritz-Carlton fold even the bathrooms we didn't use, we clean, and we go in and we Ritz-Carlton fold the toilet paper. So they walk in and they're like, oh, like, Galey, Alex design was here. Like, this bathroom looks prettier, and it wasn't even one that was being done. You know, like, we are obsessive. I think that's why people trust me to surprise them with home renovations, because they know my level of obsession over the details. But it's a whole different story when you're living with me. And so, you know, we've kind of gotten into our groove, and there's things that I've realized, like, I would just rather do because I'm going to do it better, like make the bed. I know how to get all of the creases out. I know where I want the folds. I know exactly how I want the pillows chopped. So, like, let me do that. But if you want to go pick up the dog poop, like, there's only one way to do that.
That's a blue job. That's what Alex says. He's like, there's blue jobs and there's pink jobs.
Oh.
That's a blue job. So whenever I'm like one of my biggest pet peeves is breaking down boxes, like Amazon boxes or packages or things like that. I just don't want to break a nail. I always cut my fingers. He's like, no, honey, that's fine. It's a blue job. So trash, dog caca, and any type of like outdoorsy work, other than, I know you like to blow the leaves. Alex likes to blow the leaves too. But most of those are blue jobs because they don't have to be done in a particular way. It's more of like, just get it done, and so it's over with.
Except for me, like working in the yard and blowing off the leaves, there's a very particular way. You have to strategize how to get the leaves in a group and then get them all to the right corner and then pick it all up. And then, like, I definitely am gardening a little bit every single day. It's my way of connecting with nature, and I don't let anybody else like touch my yard. So yeah, I guess we just have different I feel like mine isn't blue or pink. I feel like mine's green. Like, my color it's a green job, which means it's for Galey. They both start with G. So yeah, and I got a green thumb. So yeah, green is my job. But that's interesting. But I think to answer the question, make the short story long, which is what I did, I really think that if you think it's something that your partner can just subtly pick up on, then give them subtle hints. And if it's something that you've tried that and you feel like that's not working, then just be like, hey, I realize that this might feel like a lot or ridiculous, but I'm only telling you because it helps me and my day feel calmer and have to do less cleanup following behind you. So if you can please always put your dirty clothes in the hamper, or always, like, after you use a towel, please always hang it up. Or if you see a splash outside of the sink, I leave a little towel here, just wipe it down like Alex has in your guest bathroom. You know, like, that's where I think, you know, you're kind of setting a boundary. And the earlier you do it, the better it is for both of you, because they respect and understand that you have boundaries and you're not just like 2 years in suddenly hitting them with all of these things.
And all that's like,
exactly,
which you don't want.
Exactly. That's not 2 years of you being resentful for having to pick up these damn clothes every morning. So yeah, that's my take in it. Okay, Kendall, I think this is a great one. How to approach asking for more than a situationship.
Okay, hi. Obviously, y'all met Alex. That's not what our relationship was at all. Have I been in a situationship? Yes. Have I been in more than one? Yes. And here's what I will say. If you before you get involved with somebody, I think there's a lot of plausible deniability that a lot of us, I'm going to speak for women because it's my experience, but I think anybody can do the same thing. A lot of us don't feel like maybe we're enough or ready, or we don't want to be too much by setting boundaries and expectations and clear communication, because we think if I'm very clear about the fact that I really like this person, I don't want to get hurt if they don't feel the same way about me. Here's what I will say. Your time, your energy, your presence are a gift, okay? And if somebody is not trying to move the needle or move the flag down the track or the baton down the track, if this is a relay race and they're not moving it forward, they're wasting your time and they're not respecting it. If that's what you want from this person. Like, I'm not the person to talk to about like casual flings or like one night stands or stuff like that. That's just not, I've never been that way. Unfortunately, I am a very emotionally attached person. So if I open up to you, or especially if I like you or even find you attractive, I've probably mapped out our relationship in our head like 14 times. Okay. I'm not a casual person. Casual is not something I'm great at. Would love it if I was at some point in my life in my 20s, but that was not me. If you know that you are very much liking somebody and you start to feel things turn from maybe a more casual spot, I think it's very important that, you know, you put on your pants, you buckle them up and you say, hey, I really enjoy the time that we're having together. I enjoy how we're growing together. I'm interested in having a relationship. That's where I'm at in my life. I know that this might not be what we started as. For me, my feelings are turning, and I want to know where your thoughts are on that. And no matter what they say, if they say, oh my gosh, yes, I've been waiting to bring that up and I wasn't sure how to do it. Or if they say, yo, I just want to keep it casual, whatever their answer is their answer. Your person, I'm going to be very real with you, would not settle for a situationship if they know they really like you and they see a future with you. And it's a tough truth. But I don't think, and I will say this for myself, for all my girlfriends, all my guy friends, my gay friends, like everybody who's been in situationships and wanted to turn her into a relationship, it's very, 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 very rare that it does. Because I think for a lot of people, situationships are placeholders for something else. And they are the opportunity to kind of stroke your own ego in a relationship or a pseudo relationship rather than to commit to the real thing. I think it's much better to spend time on your own, build into your passions, build into yourself, and take that time being single rather than waste your time in a situationship. Because let's be real, if it were real, you'd want it to move forward, and so would they at a similar pace and clip. Tough truth, but just being honest.
Yeah, I feel like if it's been several months and you've hung out a lot, then that is a situationship. And if it's a situationship at that point,
like 3 months, I can see very much as dating if you're dating and talking consistently. But this is like also, you know, I hate to say old school or anything like that, but I also just would mirror whatever the man would be doing in my life. So that I got a lot of information from. I would never go out, well, not never. Once I got into my latter 20s and was done with the game playing and ambiguity and not really knowing where I stood with people and started valuing my time and my energy more, I would allow men to show me who the hell they were. So that was based off of their effort to court me. And I know it sounds so old school, but it's kind of true. Like, I think for a lot of guys, and we're talking like a very, you know, cisgendered straight situation, like they like to hunt. They like the chase. You are to be chased. Let them chase you all through whatever. It's actually really great and really empowering as a woman to have that experience and to have that example. If they want to see you on Friday, they should be texting you by Wednesday. If they want to see you Friday night and it's Friday afternoon and they're like, hey, what are you doing tonight? Guess what? You're not the first option. They asked somebody else and now that person said no. So now you're the second option. Do not say yes to that. Absolutely not. Value your time, value your energy. And if after 3 months things aren't building or growing, save yourself the drama. Like, you're better off with your girlfriends or with your dog or going to the movies or picking up a new hobby or going to the gym. There's a million other things you can be doing than wasting your time with somebody who's like lukewarm about you.
I also, just from my personal experience, I would also say don't be afraid to chase either, because if you bring a lot to the table and you want something, you have a right to go after it. Like, I know that I bring so much to the table with my heart, with my ability to invest in somebody else and bring them into my life. And I also bring a lot with stability and financials and things like that. Like, I am a very independent person, and I know I bring a lot to the table. And if I want to go after something, I'm going for it. And like, that's how I got Dale, right? I slid into his DM and said, you know, I'd love to meet up if you're in South Florida ever for lunch. Like, I'm not afraid to go after something. So as great as it is to be chased and feel that way, I think it's also okay if you want to just go after it yourself. And I think it takes a lot of confidence and cojones to do that. But, you know, it's how I ended up in a 2.5-year relationship, because the dating apps weren't working and waiting for guys to chase me also wasn't working. So I had to take matters into my own hands and DIY it.
Totally. Quick question though, quick follow-up on that. Do you think though, at a certain point after you made the initial point of contact and like showed interest with Dale, right, by DMing him and kind of saying, hey, if you're around South Florida, would love to meet up, which to me is like it could be very innocuous. It could be like, you could be friends, you could be interested more. Obviously it was kind of flirty, but then did that shift? Did you continue to be more of like, I hate to say the instigator, or did kind of that shift where he then was really pushing for like dates and more experiences in those things?
It definitely pushed right over to him.
Okay, so that's my point. I'm like, I want to make a coffee in here. I will say, in today's world, because it's so scary, particularly like if you're a strong, independent woman, a lot of people are like, oh, damn, she's self-possessed, or they assume you're already taken because you're that confident. I hate to say that, but that's something that a lot of people think. So I would say the caveat here is definitely go after. Definitely, like, if there's someone you're interested in, smile, say hello. Be like, oh, you know, you can admit your liking or interest. I think that's actually really helpful. And it's such a green light for good men out there to know, like, oh, I can be a good man here. Like, I'm safe. I'm not being a creep if I go over to her, which I think a lot of good men worry about today. But then also, though, if you're doing that consistently, if you're always the one instigating, asking to hang out, those things, you got to pull it back. You got to, like, if they're not starting, if you stay the quarterback, no, like, you be the quarterback and then become Travis Kelce and be, you know, the wide receiver, or be, you know, the tight end. Okay. Like, you don't need to quarterback the entire relationship. At some point, he should be quarterbacking this thing. That's my 2 cents.
Hey, we all have our things that we're attracted to in different ways that we like it. And I think you just have to figure that out. And I do like to be chased, but I also got to the point where, like, I wasn't being chased, so I had to do the initial chasing, right? But then I was like, once he meets me, he'll chase me. It worked.
And you're like, haha, okay.
Thanks, Dale.
Sometimes you just have to put like the, you know, the green light above your head. It's like, I wish dating were like The Sims, where you could just walk around. And you know how all the Sims had the little like gemstones on top of their head, and you could tell like their health and their score and all those things? I wish there was that, where like single, interested in blood. It would just be so much easier for people to communicate and be able to not feel worried about like, oh, are they single? Am I being weird? Is this safe?
I don't know. People are already judging each other so much. I don't want to be judging somebody's financials and their physical health and their mental health without you just walking by them on the street.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. With some elbow grease and a whole lot of love, you transform 100,000 miles and a body full of rust into a drive that's all your own. LED headlights, spoilers, whatever you need, eBay Motors has it at affordable prices. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride every time. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Cut the commute and up the convenience for your next dermatologist visit. Non-segmental vitiligo patients 12 and older can virtually discuss repigmentation with Opzelura ruxolitinib cream as soon as today. Get started on your pursuit for repigmentation with topical Opzelura. Visit Opzelura.com to connect with a derm to see if Opzelura is right for you. Provider availability may vary. For patients taking therapeutic biologics, other JAK inhibitors, or strong immunosuppressants such as cyclosporin, Opzelura is not recommended.
Opzelura can lower your ability to fight infections. Tell your doctor if you have or had an infection, TB, hepatitis B or C, blood clots in your legs or lungs, heart attack, stroke, cancer, high cholesterol, are a smoker, or pregnant. Opzelura may cause serious lung infections, certain cancers, immune system problems, blood clots, and low blood cell counts. Major cardiovascular events or death occurred in those 50 plus taking oral JAK inhibitors. The most common side effects were acne and itching where applied.
Call 866-564-8484 to learn more about prescription Opzelura for non-segmental vitiligo.
Okay, so last question. Would you stay in a relationship after cheating?
Okay, well, I've been cheated on more than once. Let's see. What's my count at? 1. And then that last one was brutal. I've been cheated on 3 times in relationships. Potentially a 4th, but I think it was just weird timing, almost overlap. Look, for me personally, I do think there might be situations and where it could be a little bit different. For myself, I could not, because to me, trust is everything. And that is the foundational piece of me feeling safe in a relationship. And to be my fullest, truest self, I have to really trust the person I'm with. And to me, the bare minimum in a relationship is fidelity and is honesty. And cheating is inherently, you're lying about your activities, you're lying about where your emotions and your heart is. And I think it's disrespectful to not be able to have those conversations with your partner before you even were to step outside the relationship. To me, there's multiple layers to that, where I will understand, and I have an empathy for, because I haven't been in the situation, is if you are married to somebody and you have children together, and by walking away from the relationship, you're talking about a significant change in not only your and your partner's life, but also the lives of your children, your family structure, all of that. I don't know what I'd do in that situation. I hope to God I will never have to. And I feel so, my heart absolutely goes out to anybody who's had to make that choice. I don't know what I would do in that situation. So I can't attest to if you were married and found this out and had children and family structures in multiple years together. But at this stage in my life, with where I've been in my relationships, I could not stay with somebody who cheated on me. I don't have anything else, so I would move on.
So are you, when you say cheating, let's define the term. Are you talking emotional or physical or both? Like if somebody emotionally cheated on you, does that also count as broken fidelity and you're out?
This is a wild take. Sometimes I think the emotional cheating is even worse than the physical cheating. And the reason being is that intimacy is built in multiple ways with your partner. It's not just physical. I think oddly in society, people focus on the physical as like the most heinous act. Don't get me wrong. I think that is definitely not okay thing to do in any front. But when you emotionally invest, and for me as somebody who is straight and dates men, I think particularly when men emotionally invest in another woman and you are the woman that they are currently with, to me, like that just makes my skin crawl so much, because a big role in my relationship when I'm with my partner who is male is being an emotional center and being that safe space for them. So if I'm no longer that for them and they're finding that from another woman, to me, I don't like, what am I really being able to provide in that space? I take a lot of pride in that. And to me, the emotional might even be worse than that.
I second that. If I had to choose my partner having a one night stand with somebody versus, and physically cheating, versus my partner having an emotional connection and being really emotionally drawn to and attracted to another person, that would destroy me 10 times worse. And I actually think I could get over if they had a one night stand and were honest about it. Like I didn't find out about it, but they told me about it. And like there was a true sense that there was genuine guilt there because they came forward with it when they didn't have to. And I would definitely be very self-reflective and see if, there's something that maybe I've been doing that, also helped promote this to be our new reality. And so I would try to look really hard at myself. I'd talk with my therapist and I would kind of see how I feel. But at the end of the day, if somebody is emotionally cheating on me, why would I even want to be in that relationship anymore? because that's the most important part of the relationship for me. It's not actually the physical intimacy, it's the emotional connection and feeling like you're a team and it's you against the world. But if they kind of feel like if the world was ending, they kind of want to be with that other person who they're really emotionally connected to right now, then what are we even doing?
Well, that's exactly it. It's like you can't, it's like they're playing for both teams and both teams are trying to win the gold medal. Like the math doesn't math on that. You cannot be having an emotional affair with another woman or with another partner. It doesn't even matter about gender or anything like that. Like, I think having an emotional affair with somebody else it just tears up the foundation of what you built with the person that you have, quote unquote, committed to, and I think it speaks a lot of volumes to, by all means, when people cheat or step outside the relationship, there's usually a multitude of reasons. There's probably a lot of events, of course, like when you're in a committed partnership with somebody, you have to also self-reflect if your partner is even considering doing that or has done that, because it's a symptom of something else that's happening in the relationship, right? It's an action that didn't come out of the blue, unless that person is just an absolutely rough, awful narcissist, which, not to throw that term around lightly, but you and I have both dated. There's those people out there. They're just like black holes of souls. Like you can't help that one. That one's just a mess, like bless up. But if it was once a relationship that was based in mutual expression and care and love, and it has divulged in another way, you have to look at those byproducts of things. And this is where I do think relationships and therapy are important. Like, I think definitely before I get married, I want to go. This is a high priority for me. I want to go to couples therapy and counseling before I walk down the aisle. That is, to me, one of the most beautiful, biggest commitments you can make in your life. I really hope that, and I will do everything in my power, that when I make that commitment to my person, it will be forever. But that's also a big undertaking. So I want to be prepared with him to know this is what we're doing. And we've done as much work as we can to set ourselves up for success and to respect each other.
Amen. So that concludes our Wholeheartedly Pod Instagram questions for today. And oh my gosh, we covered so many things, and we need to come up with a song title. I'm kind of feeling Unpretty by TLC because of the thing about our thighs, and then like people cheating on you and trying to make something a situationship and not feeling like you're enough. I just feel like that song has such a great message. And yeah, I'm feeling like Unpretty by TLC should be the title.
Oh my God. Yeah, the second you said that, like the way that my insides just melted. Oh God, I love TLC, Something Fierce. And we should save that for TLC. Look up the history of their group. They have been through it. They deserve to have 10 times the money that is actually theirs. A lot of stuff was stolen from them. Obviously, everything that went on, God bless Lisa Left Eye and RIP, because she was such an icon. Anyway, but yes, I think Unpretty by TLC is it. And I'm going to blast that after this because I'm going to get like my feels. Yeah.
I know, that is such a great song. And as always, we'll conclude with what is one thing that you're working to improve this week. Kendall, you want to go first?
I'm going to keep it really simple. Probably cutting back on caffeine. But after today, because I'm still double strawing right now. And I'm living for it. I'm like a walrus.
She's literally double fisting 2 like 1 day old and a fresh iced coffee and drinking them at the same time right now. For those of you who can't see her. So it sounds like you're starting this tomorrow. Okay. I support that.
What about you, babe?
For me, I've been trying really hard and I haven't been doing a great job lately. I used to do this thing when I was working at Goldman where like I would try and get all my errands done every Saturday and clean the house. And then Sunday, it would just be for me and the dogs because I was single most of my career there. And so I would like put movies on all day. I'd work out in the morning. And then the whole rest of the day, I'd turn my phone off. I would watch movies all day in bed with the dogs. I would eat in bed. And it was just like my me time. And I've gotten away from that because being an entrepreneur now, like we record these on Saturdays, like my whole schedule is different. I work 7 days a week, especially with this house reno. So I want to get back in the habit of really setting a boundary with everybody around me and being like, hey, Sundays are for me. It is my mental health day. I'm going to go for a long run in the morning. And then I'm going to shut my phone off the entire day. I'm not checking emails. I'm not zeroing anything out so that I can go to bed at night. I'm just really taking, good luck with that though. But I'm just really taking, I'm really taking time for me to set it aside. And I encourage everybody else, like, it's so hard, especially if you've got a full-time job like being a mom where you're on 7 days a week. How do you carve out those times? Maybe have your partner or just find a way to help relieve some of the stress just for a few hours so that you can have your me time at least once a week. I think it's so important to recharge, and I've done a bad job of it, and I can feel how it's impacting me. So yeah, that's what I'm working on.
I love it. I will be your accountable buddy. And if I see you comment, like, or anything, I'll be like, I'm going to call you and be like, Galey, I know that your phone's on Do Not Disturb, so I'm going to call you twice. Go relax. I will help keep you accountable to that. And I promise I won't text you or bug you on Sundays because I want you to have your peace.
And then I'm going to write Alex and be like, yo, is she having any caffeine today? Because I'm going to bust her ass if she is, because she just called me out.
Yeah, no, honestly, he's like my dealer. He also loves a lot of caffeine. I don't know if it's going to go well, Galey. I really
Okay,
don't.
then I'm putting CIA Susie on the case, who also just handed you a coffee at the beginning of this. So you know what? You just have enablers. You have caffeine enablers.
It's my secret. I can't take responsibility if I keep enablers around me, guys. It's my downfall.
Thank you guys for being with us for another episode of Wholeheartedly with Kendall and Galey. We come at you every Wednesday. If you can smash that like button, or you can tap it, or you could just generally like gently graze it, we would really, really appreciate it. And you can follow Kendall at Kendall Tool. You can follow her newsletter at kendalltool.co. And I'm at Galey Alex on Insta and TikTok. And yeah, we're so happy to be here. And thank you guys for letting us do this and making us feel safe.
Yep, we love you guys. Have a wonderful, beautiful week. Take time for you like Galey's going to, and have some caffeine for me because we'll see if I outlast. All right, you guys, have fun, and remember to do everything with your whole heart. We love you. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. With some elbow grease and a whole lot of love, you transform 100,000 miles and a body full of rust into a drive that's all your own. LED headlights, spoilers, whatever you need, eBay Motors has it at affordable prices. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride every time. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Cut the commute and up the convenience for your next dermatologist visit. Non-segmental vitiligo patients 12 and older can virtually discuss repigmentation with Opzelura ruxolitinib cream as soon as today. Get started on your pursuit for repigmentation with topical Opzelura. Visit Opzelura.com to connect with a derm to see if Opzelura is right for you. Provider availability may vary. For patients taking therapeutic biologics, other JAK inhibitors, or strong immunosuppressants such as cyclosporin, Opzelura is not recommended.
Opzelura can lower your ability to fight infections. Tell your doctor if you have or had an infection, TB, hepatitis B or C, blood clots in your legs or lungs, heart attack, stroke, cancer, high cholesterol, are a smoker, or pregnant. Opzelura may cause serious lung infections, certain cancers, immune system problems, blood clots, and low blood cell counts. Major cardiovascular events or death occurred in those 50 plus taking oral JAK inhibitors. The most common side effects were acne and itching where applied.
Call 866-564-8484 to learn more about prescription Opzelura for non-segmental vitiligo. Cut the commute and up the convenience for your next dermatologist visit. Non-segmental vitiligo patients 12 and older can virtually discuss repigmentation with Opzelura ruxolitinib cream as soon as today. Get started on your pursuit for repigmentation with topical Opzelura. Visit Opzelura.com to connect with a derm to see if Opzelura is right for you. Provider availability may vary. For patients taking therapeutic biologics, other JAK inhibitors, or strong immunosuppressants such as cyclosporin, Opzelura is not recommended.
Opzelura can lower your ability to fight infections. Tell your doctor if you have or had an infection, TB, hepatitis B or C, blood clots in your legs or lungs, heart attack, stroke, cancer, high cholesterol, are a smoker, or pregnant. Opzelura may cause serious lung infections, certain cancers, immune system problems, blood clots, and low blood cell counts. Major cardiovascular events or death occurred in those 50 plus taking oral JAK inhibitors. The most common side effects were acne and itching where applied.
Call 866-564-8484 to learn more about prescription Opzelura for non-segmental vitiligo.
Let's see. I could go casual chic or dress for success.
With so many looks, picking out what to wear can be difficult. But with Walmart, picking out a fresh pair of glasses is easy.
Maybe it's an athleisure day.
That's because Walmart has top brands and styles for you to choose from. So it's easy to find the right frames for whatever you're feeling.
Here's my outfit of the day and the perfect pair of cat-eye frames to match.
New glasses to make your styles pop. Welcome to your Walmart. Valid prescription required.